Good morning, everybody. Welcome to day one of our Writing Sprints Challenge. So this has kind of come up really quickly, and if you're just finding out about this, that's fine. You can jump in literally anytime. We are starting today, and in fact, probably a lot of you have already gotten some of your sprints in for the day. So I was trying to print out the workbook. There is a workbook that goes along with this challenge that is free for you to download. And my paper got jammed and I ran out of time. So I don't have the whole thing up, but I did pull it up here in my PDF viewer. It's basically what we're going to do over the next few days is this is a 5-day writing sprints challenge. And the goal of it is not to just write a ton of words, but the goal of it is to figure out what your personal sweet spot is. And by that, what I mean is, a writing sprint is when you set a timer for a specific amount of time and you take off all other like distractions and focus. You turn off your phone, you stop, answering the door, whatever it is you need to do. You put a sign on your office door and you say, I am writing, leave me alone. And you hyper focus. You don't answer emails or check social media. You don't leave your document. So what this does is when you do writing sprints, you tend to focus. And this, of course, is based on the Pomodoro method, which was developed in the 80s. And it is basically the idea that you can have more focus when you limit the amount of time that you're going to do it. Because the more you try to stay in a state of deep focus for like 30, 40, 50 minutes or longer, the more you start to get diminishing returns. Because the way our brains work is that we can stay focused for a period of time and then our brains begin to wander. So taking that Pomodoro method and applying it to our writing basically just means that we decide how long we're going to sprint for, or how long we're going to have a dedicated writing focus time. Good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I am currently live on both YouTube and on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, welcome. If you're on YouTube, definitely come and join our Facebook sprinting group. If you are on Facebook, it is a great group, and I will give you some more details about that in just a second. But if you've never tried writing sprints before, it can literally transform your writing time, because not only how much you write, but how focused you are when you're writing, how many words you get per session, not getting burned out, and maybe able to go for longer during the day. So if you've been someone traditionally who it's like, oh, if you had, 40 minutes or an hour, you just feel exhausted when you're done. This can actually help you, because maybe if you go for 15 minutes and then take a break and 15 more minutes, you're going to get more words in less time, but you're also going to have more endurance when it comes to your writing. So what we aim to do during this 5-day challenge is to practice and experiment with different times of day. So sometimes, like today, we'll be writing in the morning, sometimes we'll be writing in the evening, and so on. So we're going to experiment with different times a day. And we're also going to experiment with different lengths of sprints and different lengths of breaks. Now, because it's only 5 days, you're not going to get to try every time period, 5, 10, 15, 20. But this will give you a framework that you can take beyond this 5 days and continue to try to find your sweet spot. Because what happens for so many of us is we think, okay, everybody's sprinting for 20 minutes, I'll sprint for 20 minutes too. And maybe you notice every time that by the time you get to 15 minutes, your brain is already wandering and you're kind of typing slower and, the words aren't coming for those last 5 minutes. Well, if that is you, then maybe what you need to do is shorten your sprints and go to 15 minutes. And you might actually find, crazy as it seems, that you write more words if you set a 15-minute timer than if you set a 20-minute timer. This is the way it is for me. If I set a 20-minute timer, I can write more words sometimes, or better words, than I can if I set a 30-minute timer. Because by 30 minutes, I'm starting to get diminishing returns. I'm starting to get less focused. And when I start a timer that I know is really long, I'm not like as anxious to get the words as fast as I can. But if I know I only have 20 minutes and that 20 minutes is going to pass by really fast, I will type faster. It's really crazy how this works. So this morning, we started with early riser. So if you already joined our challenge and you already downloaded your workbook, you know that today's challenge was to write 3 10-minute sprints before 10 a.m. this morning. I don't know why that lighting keeps getting messed up. It's because I held up this white piece of paper and it readjusted. So 10 minutes of a sprint with a 5-minute break in between, and do that 3 times. So this should take you 45 minutes, and to do it kind of in the morning. So some of you might have done it because you're always writing in the morning. Maybe you wrote at 6 a.m. Maybe some of you have not yet done it, or you're just waking up, which is fine. I know it's right now, it's only 6 a.m. on the West Coast. But some of you might be all the way in Australia and it's already, nighttime or whatever. So the key is if you are just joining it late, then start day 1 tomorrow. It's totally fine to not be on my schedule. This is very casual and chill. It's just a tool that you might be able to use. So if you're looking for the workbook, it is just a freebie in my resource library. So all you have to do is there's a link to join my mailing list down below to join the challenge. Join the mailing list and it will send you the workbook for free. You can download it and leave my list if you want to. That's totally fine. Or if you just really don't want to sign up for my list, send me an email at sarah@heartbreathings.com and I will send it to you without signing up. But this is just an easy way for me to get it to everybody. So the other thing you get when you sign up for my mailing list is you get an entire resource library that has pretty much all the freebies that I've ever made. So it has like a checklist of everything you need before you self-publish. It has a Planner 101 quiz type journaling to see what the perfect type of planner is for you. There's all kinds of stuff. My how to plot your novel, how to edit your novel resources. There's word count trackers. There's NaNoWriMo trackers. There's lots of fun stuff in there. And I keep adding to it. And in fact, this week I have added not only this new workbook, which is updated for this year, but also I added a new word count tracker that looks something like this. And this is kind of a freebie for everybody who is interested in joining the Sprints Challenge. So this is a monthly Sprints Challenge where you can write the date on one side. And then let's say you do up to 5 sprints a day. You can write the number of how many words you got per sprint, your total for the day, and then your total for the month. So you could print this out for every single month of the year and keep track of how much you wrote. Now, if you tend to do more than 5 sprints a day, you might have to print 2 of these and have, up to 10 a day. But I thought that would be kind of another cool writing sprints tracker. But there's lots of different sprints trackers in the resource library if you want to grab those. So it's a benefit of signing up for the list. But like I said, if you just are like, I hate signing up for mailing lists, that's fine. You can just send me an email and I will send it to you. Let's take a look at the workbook really quickly. And thank you for the kind comments about my hair. I got my hair totally chopped off. It was like an entire foot of hair is gone and it just feels so bouncy, but thank you so much for that. So I don't know if I can zoom into this maybe a little bit more. Here we go. All right. So basically what we have is a little bit of a description here about why sprints are important and how we're going to run this challenge. And then we have a little bit of stuff about bonus and so forth. So like I said, if you are not in the Word Sprints group, that is a Facebook group that we have on Facebook, obviously, that I started originally when I ran this challenge, and I thought that that group would just be for the challenge for 5 days. Like I ran this, I think back in 2019 or 2018. And I was like, we'll just have the group for the challenge and then we'll, disband or archive the group. But it became such a fun place to hang out and do some writing that we kept the group going. Now, this group has almost 2,500 members and it is pretty active. So we have a lot of really great admins who show up to run live writing sprints inside the group. And I'm going to be running live sprints pretty much every day after today. Today, we're just kind of chatting, but we will be running live sprints every day. And then we also have every single day people are running sprints either just on YouTube and they leave us a link to join YouTube, or they are actually sprinting live in the Facebook group, but you can also always go in and say, hey, I'm sprinting for an hour. Does anybody want to join me? And you can also come into that group and say, hey, I've got a blurb that I'm working on, or hey, I've got a question about how to, do my book, or how to, I'm like having a problem with writing this character. Can somebody help me? And so it's a good writing community. And I will tell you, it is nothing but positivity. So if you're looking for a group on Facebook where you don't have to listen to anything that is drama or politics or anything like that, and you're just really looking for a place where writers are happy and encouraging each other and finding a place for support, then you will love this group. So I would love for you to come join us, especially if you are coming to get more writing done. Some of the people that have joined that group have like doubled their monthly word count. Besides the live writing sprints that we do on a daily basis, we also do something called a double down day. So I'm going to talk about that in a little bit because that is coming up this Saturday. And we also do a monthly virtual writing retreat where we basically pretend that we're going to a fun location since we're all kind of stuck inside for COVID. And we pretend that we're like at a spa in Bali or something like that. And we write for 3 days together as much as you can. And it all happens right there in the Facebook group. So there is a link to join below if you're joining us from YouTube. So come join us there if you would like. All right, so here is how the challenge is set up in the workbook. If you don't want to download the workbook or you don't have a printer, you can just do this on your own. So take just a minute to kind of look at the structure of this, because the challenge only works if you keep track of how many word sprints you did and how many words you wrote. So if you joined the emails or you're in the Facebook group, there is a post or an email going out to you today that explains how the daily challenge works. Otherwise, I guess maybe I can put it in the live here on YouTube, or I can put it on my community tab so that you don't have to have a workbook. But here's how it goes. So you get a challenge each day. Today, day 1 is early riser. And like I said, it's 3 morning sprints before 10 a.m. So whatever that is for you local time, it may be already gone for you for the day, or it might be coming up soon. It's 9:15 on the East Coast here. And I want you to write 10 minutes each. So you set a timer. You can use a Pomodoro app, and we are going to put a special post up in the Facebook group where you get a chance to say what your favorite Pomodoro app is. And you can use something like tomato-timer.com on the web, which is just a free web-based timer that is set up for exactly for writing sprints or Pomodoros, or you can actually download an app for your phone. And there's different ones that are good on Apple phones versus Android phones, but one of my favorites is called Clockwork Tomato. I really like that one because you can change the colors, but all you have to do is search for a Pomodoro app, and you can find a timer that will basically set up your time where you have a specific focus amount of time and then a small break. And you run that 4 times, and then every 4th one, you take a longer break. So your challenge today is just to do 3. 10 minutes each of focus time with a 5-minute break in between. So you just would focus, set a timer for 10 minutes. And as soon as that timer begins, you start writing, and you do not stop writing. Like, you don't have to write as fast as possible, but you don't stop to check email. You don't stop to do any research. You don't go to get a Coke or a water or whatever it is. You just wait until that timer goes off. And all you do during that 10 minutes is write. And that's how writing sprints work. And if you've never done them before, you'll be amazed at how much it can change your writing life and your focus. Then you're going to take a 5-minute break. When that timer goes off, you're done. 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes to break. Then timer for 10 minutes starts again. You focus for 10 minutes, another 5-minute break, and then a third 10-minute sprint, and you're done with your writing. I also have put a little place here that you can see that says my plan, because as with all things that I do, I am never a one-size-fits-all kind of person. You got to make it work for you. So if you work the night shift and there's no way you're going to be doing sprints before 10 a.m., or you only have time to do 1, you can make it work for you, and it's totally going to be fine. Or maybe you want to do 5 instead of just 3. So you set your own plan. I give you the guideline, you set your own plan. So you can write here what you commit to doing for the day. I will begin my writing sprints at blank today. I commit to blank sprints. So I'm going to begin my writing sprints at 9:30 today. I commit to 2 sprints of 10 minutes each. My break will last 5 minutes each. And that's fine. So if it's not exactly what I asked you to do, you're setting up your own space and time here for this. And if you're joining late and you're like, it's almost 10 a.m. now, I'm never going to get the early riser one. Actually, next time I do this, I'll probably start with the afternoon or evening ones instead of the morning ones. I didn't really think about that, but we'll switch it up next time. But feel free to just switch it with tomorrow and do the early riser tomorrow morning instead. It doesn't matter which order you do them in. What I want you to do though, and this does matter, is calculate. Here you write sprint number 1, sprint number 2, sprint number 3. How long did you sprint? So this today should say 10 minutes. Your start time was 9 a.m. or whatever, because it's important to know when you started, how early you started, and how many words did you write for that sprint. So this might look like you might have sprint number 1, sprint length 10 minutes, start time 9 a.m., words written 110. Sprint number 2, sprint length 10 minutes, start time. So if you started at 9 a.m. and then took a 5-minute break, you should be starting at 9:15 a.m. Words written. And the reason I want you to mark your start time each time is because I want you to pay attention later when you're looking at the data to whether you really did start those timers on time, or if you were like, write for 10 minutes, take a 5-minute break, but that 5-minute break turned into a 30-minute break and you didn't get back to writing till 10, because that's going to make a difference, because it's going to show how well you focus during this time of day. But the main thing is to definitely write down how many words you got. Then your total sprinting time, because this is going to come into the calculations that we do at the end of the week, not including breaks. So if you had, all you're going to do is do these sprint lengths. So if you had 3 10-minute break or 3 10-minute sprints, then you'll do 30 minutes. And then you're going to add up your total words written as your total word count. That is the data part. And we're going to use this starting on Thursday night to determine your average words per minute. And this is going to be very important for determining your personal sweet spot. So you got to grab that data. It's not enough just to sprint. We got to know how much you got done. Writing at this time of day, felt, and then journal for just a minute. It was like pulling teeth. I was half asleep. I kept falling asleep at my keyboard. It felt really good. I was wide awake. I was so energized. I can't believe it. Whatever it is, just mark down your personal feelings of how it went for the day. And then this length of sprints and breaks worked or didn't work for me because. So if it worked, write about why it worked. If it didn't really work for you, like it didn't work for me because I have to stay up late for work and it was really hard for me to concentrate in the morning, or I missed my alarm and didn't even get up in time to start when I planned, or this was a really hard time for me because the baby was, raining terror on my office and I don't have anybody to watch her during this morning. So write down those different observations that you have. Cranky, definitely cranky, but it felt so good after. And that's an important thing to put on there, Alexandra, is like, okay, I felt really cranky. I had such a hard time getting started, but it was so good to know right there in the morning that I was finished and I did a good job. And I'm done with my writing for the day or whatever. And some of you might say something like, it felt really good. I loved this time of day, but man, 10 minutes is not enough time. I was barely getting started. I think I would love to try, a sprint that was longer in the morning, because you're going to get a chance to do something like that. Jenny says it's so weird seeing morning there because it's literally 8 p.m. there. So yes, if you are just starting and you are overseas, then it's fine for you to do the early morning day one, do it tomorrow, and just keep going until Saturday, which is totally fine. But what you're doing is you're paying attention. And the main thing I want you to do as you go through this is just be aware what feels good, what doesn't feel good, what is working for me, but I want to tweak it in this way. Because at the end of this, I'm not going to tell you this is your absolute best time. You're going to be figuring that out for yourself. And you're going to use this data to continue to get better and better. I think that by the time you finish this, you're going to have a lot of really solid information about like 10 minutes is way too short, or 30 minutes is way too long. 20 minutes is when I always get into a flow, but I don't start to have diminishing returns. In your ideal sprint, you will have enough time for the words to really flow and feel good, but you'll stop before the ideas are out. So if you end up going for 30 minutes of sprints and always around 20 minutes, you start running out of ideas, you start feeling, blah, and it just starts getting slow, you're going for too long. So Kate says, do you have to do this with a work in progress, or can you use it for any writing project like a prompt? You can actually absolutely use it for a prompt. You can use it for journaling, anything you want. If you are not working on a current work in progress because you're editing or something like that and you're not ready for writing, still go ahead and give this a shot and use it for journaling, or like Kate says, use it with a prompt. So you could just go on Pinterest and search for writing prompts, or Google and search for writing prompts. And, a girl walks into a woods and sees a glint of sparkling wings, of course I got to go paranormal, but it could be something like that. Or a girl is sitting at a cafe and a good looking guy walks in, boom, what happens? And just start writing. Find any kind of writing sprints that you can find, any kind of prompt, and you can absolutely use that. Anything that gets you writing is going to start to tell you how long it feels good and comfortable for you. So go ahead and use it. Aphrodite says she already knows 25 minutes is my sweet spot. I actually feel like 25 minutes was always my sweet spot, 25 minutes with a 5-minute break. But sometimes lately I start to feel like 20 minutes is better for me. And I don't know if it's just this time in my life or what. So even if you did this challenge a couple years ago with me and you said, this is definitely my sweet spot, still go through it again. But what you'll see here is that I have that same setup for every day of the week, but the challenge is a little different. So day 2, we're going to be sprinting in the afternoons, and that's your local time, whatever local time is for you. So 2 afternoon sprints sometime between lunch and dinner. And tomorrow we'll be doing 25-minute sprints each with a 10-minute break in between. So you're going to learn a couple different things. How well do you write in the afternoons? Do you get super sleepy? Is it a hard time for you to concentrate? Or is it actually a good, like if you take a walk before, is it a really good time for you? Is 25 minutes too long, or is that just getting started? Or is it a sweet spot? Is a 10-minute break, do you start to feel antsy and lose your focus? Or is that a better stretch of time for break? So you're going to mark down everything about this down in this journaling section, what worked and what didn't. And don't forget to track how many sprints you did, how long they were, because even though I'm telling you 25 minutes, maybe you only went 20 because somebody interrupted you. And that's important stuff to know. And then what was your total sprinting time and your total word count? Day 3 is a night owl challenge. So this is 3 evening sprints before bedtime. So this is anytime kind of after dinner, but before you go to bed, 15 minutes each with a 5-minute break between. And then by day 4, you're going to have a little bit of information at this point about what's working for you and what's not. So you're going to choose your time. So let's say you've tried 10 minutes, that wasn't long enough. 25 minutes was too long. And then day 3, 15 minutes felt pretty good, but now you want to try 20s. So maybe you're going to do 20-minute sprints on day 4. But some of you might be like, 25 minutes wasn't long enough. I could barely get into it. I'm going to try a 45-minute sprint. And if you've never tried a really long sprint before, maybe you want to try that on Thursday. So give that, or I'll say day 4, because some of us are going to be a little bit off on days. By day 5, before we get to day 5, we're going to take all of those word counts and divide it by the total minutes you sprinted. And we're going to get your average words. Something just went crazy with my printer, so I apologize for that noise. So you're going to get your average word per minute, and don't worry about that just yet. It does explain it in the workbook, but I will also go through it again when I go live on Thursday. And then you're going to use that information to determine your sweet spot so far, and that will give you day 5's sprint boss. So you're going to try one more thing to see how it works. Then what we'll do is on Saturday in the Writing Sprints group, we have Like my printer is possessed over there. In the Writing Sprints group, we have a double down day. And this is the first Saturday of every single month where we have live writing sprints all day long. So we do them all day long. There's like hours and hours, like 8 something hours of writing sprints that happen live that you can jump in on anytime. And your challenge on double down day is to get double your normal average daily word count. So if you usually try to write 500 words a day, double down day, you're going to try to write 1,000. But if you usually write 5,000 words a day, you're going to try to get 10,000. So it's that way. It's like it meets you where you are, and it's 100% something that you can do. So Lisa said, I just arrived in the middle. I would like to join. Where can I join? So you just join in the link down below in the description box. And yes, you can do this while working a job. It's 100% something that you can tailor to yourself. There's no designated, you have to write at 7 a.m. You just decide when the time works for you and how much time you have to give to it. So if you go join the challenge, it'll give you a workbook, and that beginning of the workbook will explain everything you need to do. So, like I said, some of you have already finished your sprints for this morning. Some of you have not gotten a chance to start, and it's already past time. Like maybe it's already 8 p.m. for you. So in that case, just go ahead and start tomorrow, and that's fine too. So this is going to be a really fun challenge, and I know that you guys are going to enjoy it. Hopefully you will get a lot out of it, and you will start to really understand how writing sprints can be maximized for you individually. Now, when you get to, tomorrow, you're going to start to know a little bit more about your personal sweet spot in terms of did 10 minutes work or not. So every day you're going to build on that knowledge. Now, tomorrow, I will also be going live for 1 hour at 3 p.m. Eastern time. For some of you, that's going to be right in the middle of your afternoon sprints, and you're going to want to write with me. And I'm going to do a full hour of live writing sprints. So it'll be 2 25-minute sprints with a 10-minute break between. So it'll be a little over an hour, or right at an hour. But if that's not the right time for you, then you can watch a replay, or you can be a day off. It's fine. Just make it work for you, whatever time works for you. You don't have to do it exactly when I'm doing it. Wednesday is the night owl one, and that is 15-minute sprints in the evening. And I will be live at 8 p.m. Eastern time for 1 hour. And if you're looking for this schedule, it will be in the email that you receive from me in the challenge. And it's also in the Facebook group. And all those links are down below for those of you on YouTube. So Thursday is your choice. And then Friday is the sweet spot. So I'll be going live every single day, and it's going to be really cool. So I will see you guys there. If you have any questions, you can just ask them in the comments here below, or you can ask in the Facebook group. But don't worry if you can't make it to the live stuff, because this is really something that you're meant to do on your own. And the lives are just to support you throughout the process. So download the workbook or get the emails from the challenge and sign up below, and do it every single day. So Zara says, I can't do the Wednesday one because I have class then, but hopefully you can still do the Wednesday one on your own time. And if it works out, like I said, that you're like, oh, well, Wednesday doesn't work for me for night owls because I've got this class and I can't do it Wednesday night, then just switch Tuesday and Wednesday and just swap them and make it work for you. And that's pretty much the way I do everything. Is you've got guidelines, but feel free to mix it up, right? So make it work for you. Get some writing sprints going. Today's challenge, if you have not started and it's still morning where you are, is to write 3 10-minute sprints with 5 minutes breaks in between. It should take you about 45 minutes total. Mark how many words you wrote and how long you actually went. Mark down how it felt to get it done and whether this time of morning worked for you or didn't work for you. And then every single day we will get going. So let's see. Do you know a channel that is doing live reading sprints on YouTube right now? I do not know. They're more like guidelines. Yes, Angela. And I actually don't know a lot of other YouTube like live sprints that are going on. I know what's going on in our Facebook group, but I haven't really kept up with live sprints that are going on in other channels. But sometimes when our admins go live on Facebook, they also will go live on YouTube for those of you that don't want to be on Facebook. So definitely something to be thinking about. But either way, that is all we're going to do today. All you have to do is set that timer for 10 minutes. Write and focus for for that 10 minutes. That's all you got to do. And later, once you understand your sweet spot, you'll be able to kind of trick your mind, like hack your mind, and be able to say, you know what, all I have to do is sit down for 10 minutes and write. And then I can be done with my writing for the day. And 9 times out of 10, after that first 10-minute sprint is done, you will feel better. And then you'll be ready to do another 10-minute sprint. And that is part of how you chain together just those little tiny bits of focus. You can do anything for 10 minutes. You can focus on anything for 10 minutes. And that feels so much better than I got to sit down and write a book, right? It's like taking these big goals and breaking them down into small, achievable chunks, which is kind of what we're all about here at Heart Breathing. So hopefully you guys are going to really enjoy this. I went live a little bit longer than I expected today, but that's okay. We are going to go ahead and sign off for the day. If you get a chance, go ahead and do your writing this morning. If it is evening for you and you're just joining the sprints, then start day 1 tomorrow. And if you can, take time, like if you're going to do the morning sprints today, before you go to bed tonight, go ahead and make a commitment to when you're going to do your afternoon sprints tomorrow, and go ahead and make that plan. Because if not, you might end up at the end of the day being like, oh, I totally forgot to do the afternoon sprints. So go ahead and put it in your planner or your calendar and make that commitment. And I will be live again tomorrow at 3 p.m. So I will see you guys there. Don't forget too that we have the Double Down Day this weekend. So come join the Facebook group if you're not in there. There is talk of starting a Discord group too, for those of you who are just not interested in being on Facebook. So let me know if there is interest in starting a Discord group that also sprints at the same times. That might be something we can get going for this year. And also don't forget that my Publish and Thrive self-publishing course is open until Sunday, and we start on Monday. So if you're interested in that, there is a link for that down below as well. Thank you guys so much. If you can't get the workbook or you have any trouble with it, just send me an email. I'll be checking my emails throughout the day. It's sarah@heartbreathings.com. All right, you guys, I will see you soon. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of this cool challenge. I will see you then. All right. Bye.